Who wants to open the show?
Can I do it?
I mean, I could do it.
No, I'll let you fight for it. Here it comes.
All right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
We're live, everybody. Welcome to the Weekly Poll.
Welcome, people. Welcome, everyone, to the Weekly Poll podcast.
Oh.
Yes, we are people who sit around and ramble about comic books.
You pay us to do it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
I mean,
really.
shit, dude, I would say between the three of us, man, we probably have 60-plus years of comic book reading under our belt.
No doubt.
Oh, easily. Maybe
I
more.
mean, it's like, imagine that, 70 years of like 60 to 70 years of comic book reading between the three of us.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
combined.
especially if you go back, if it's like, because I don't know how long, I don't know when, actually that's a good question for both of you. I want to find out, what was your age when you first started reading comics?
Why am I so blurry?
Ooh.
I don't know.
I mean, young, I feel like they were always omnipresent in my life. But then I know
God,
I
I
stopped
look
for a
really
while.
good in this.
Yeah,
Jesus.
you're a very attractive man. What can I say?
I am a very attractive man. Yeah. That did not fix my camera.
No.
It's worse now than it was. Well, not really worse now, but dude, I was probably like 11,
Right? I mean,
something like that, like 10 or 11.
Yeah. Joel,
No,
what
I
about
was,
you?
I was probably younger than that. Now that I think about it, because it was X-Men the animated series that came on in what, like 92, 93.
I want to say like 93. The chat will let us know.
So, Jesus, 25 years. No, not even that, because that'd be 38.
92?
92, 3. Yeah, so that's 21 years?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Heck, I
Bunches
can
of
remember.
years.
I can remember picking out comics at like the local drugstore back, like just the tail end of when they still had them before they went all over into the big stores. And they're like, "Hey, we got X-Men because it's the '90s and X-Men is big right now." And again, I was really young, where it's like I probably can't read all of this, but man, there's a pterodactyl man on the cover breaking out, and this looks amazing. I need to check this out.
Completely.
Let's see. X-Men the Animated Series came out in, let's see, when did that show first debut?
I think it was the
1992.
winter of 92.
Yeah, October of 1992. So it was probably within 5 months of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think when I think
God, that's so long ago. I
Yeah.
don't remember.
I want to say I was 8, maybe 6 when I started reading them, but like when I started buying them or like making it into a hobby / identity, I think it was probably 10 or 11, maybe 12.
Yeah.
Nah, 10.
Yeah, I could see that. Old enough to actually like appreciate what the comics were, what they were doing.
At the very least, reading them, certainly. But, like, the reason why I brought it up was because you said, 60 years of comic book reading experience. But, like, sure, that's when you think about, like, how many books we were reading when they were coming out. But, like, if you were like me, and I know you are, you definitely went back into the long boxes and went, like, okay, so, like, sure, this is what's happening right now. But, like, what about that annotation in the middle of the book that says, like, this happened in issue number, like, 68, which happened 30 years prior. So you got to go back. So you're reading like 80 years of comic book history.
Yeah, dude. See, that's what got me expanding into comics.
Yeah.
Because I remember reading Fatal Attractions.
Oh yeah.
And I remember just picking up the cover. It was, what was it? Wolverine 40, Wolverine 75, whichever one it was. Yeah, when his adamantium was pulled out. And I remember that it was like, go back and read this issue. And it was like, okay. And then I remember going back and like reading other issues. And like, see, the X-Men spun me out into like Cable and like Strife and all that kind of stuff. And then the X-Men got me into Avengers, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I mean, God, it's really been that long. Like, Jesus.
Yeah. Oh no.
Man. Yeah, it's God, it's kind of bonkers.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay, here's a question.
Okay.
All right. Favorite comic book story of all time? Yes, every comic book fan, and okay, this goes for you guys too in the Twitch chat. Every fan has that one story arc, that one favorite story arc. Mine is the Century. Like, you guys know that. Mine's the original Century from Paul Jenkins and Jay Lee.
Yeah.
But like, what's everybody else's? If you can even pick one, that's kind of a tough question.
I know we did an episode like many years back now where we talked about like, what are the quintessential timeless story arcs? And we all talked about a couple. I think 2 that I brought up that I really loved were Punisher Widowmaker from the Max run. That one's always really strong. Yeah. Daredevil, The Golden Age, which I think is maybe my favorite Bendis story he ever told.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
That's a really good... That's also the one that White Tiger is introduced, the new female White Tiger. Everyone forgets that. She started in a Daredevil story.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That was really good. Green Arrow Go Into the Light is a really strong one too, from like the end of Winnick's run, where he's like, okay, if I only write one more Green Arrow story, I'm gonna
Holy shit!
What? Oh no, who died?
So, Dalthani, I think it is, just gifted like everyone a sub.
Holy shit!
He sure did. Oh,
Making
crap.
it rain.
Dalthani is one of the most generous Twitchers that we have across our respective Twitch channels. Thank you so much,
$100
Dalthani, for that. Holy crap!
Dude,
So basically, if you were in the chat today,
trips.
you got a tier 1 sub.
You got a tier 1 sub. Wow.
Buy that man a drink. Get that man a Coke.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh, 100 tier 1 subs to the community.
Hot damn.
That's bonkers.
That's 100. That's 1388 subs that he's gifted over the years.
Wow.
Enjoy
thanks a lot,
the emotes. Fill the chat with emotes.
Yeah.
Rain.
Spam emotes, guys. Just spam a ton of emotes. And everybody say thank you.
Yeah.
Everybody say thank you to Saltathon.
Real.
Yeah. Also,
Funny,
Noah's
yeah.
Wild subscribed to the tier 1 sub 8 months in a row.
Hey.
Splooge. Yeah.
Nuts. So yeah, that was your favorite arc. Or those were your favorite arcs? But
Those are the
relatively recent,
three.
by the way, like within the last
Those are
20
good
years.
choices, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
so.
Girls in White Dresses and the Slavers were my favorite from The Punisher. That, and of
Totally.
course, the first arc. But
Also very strong.
yeah, Girls in White Dresses and the Slavers were my favorite from the Punisher Max run. But
Yeah.
okay,
People
Sal.
forget Girl in the White Dresses. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite first arcs. I mean, like, not including like older stuff when I was a kid growing up, but like stuff where I was like, oh crap, I'm back into comics and I love this stuff. Straczynski's beginning run on Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
Not even like necessarily the first like Ezekiel part, but like I don't remember what the hell it was called, but it was the issue where Spider-Man and Mary Jane are like missing each other and they end up meeting up at an airport. They fight Doctor Doom, Captain America and Spider-Man team up. It's really fun. It's a great story, and then that like springboarded me into the whole run, and that also includes like some weird, non-comic reader decisions. Like Straczynski, Babylon 5 creator, he clearly read like 3 comics, and he like used those to inform everything he wrote. But thankfully, the dude also knows how to write, so it wasn't like a slog to read through his stuff, except for Skin Deep, which is just boring and who cares. But like.
Yeah.
And of course, he also wrote Sin's Past, so like you can't. But everyone's got to make a mistake, maybe 2. But he created a character called Digger. The implication was this is not my favorite arc, by the way. It's just kind of like, oh, this actually wound up being kind of fun. The idea was that like in the 50s there was like a mob hit where one Magia Don kills a bunch of mobsters, grabs their bodies, and dumps them in the Nevada desert. What they don't know is that a couple years later, there's going to be this gamma bomb test.
Wow.
And the gamma bomb that gives the Hulk his powers also leaches into these dead mobsters, and it basically fuses them all into this one zombie that has all of their consciousnesses inside this one husk. And
Christ.
he calls himself Digger, and he basically like crawls his way back to New York, and Spider-Man has to fight him. And so Spider-Man basically has to figure out like how to defeat a Hulk-powered zombie mobster. And it's like, why would you do this? How bizarre. But it's also really cool and fun, and it informs the idea that Spider-Man is like, okay, I figured, and he more or less figures out how to defeat him by using his gamma irradiation against him. But what he winds up doing as a result is finding out how he could probably defeat the Hulk as well. And he basically explains to Mary Jane, like, if I used this ability that I figured out how to beat Digger, I could probably kill the Hulk. But I don't want to kill him, but if I ever had to, I guess I could do this. And it never really goes anywhere, just like a lot of ideas that Straczynski had. Like, he created this idea where, like, Spider-Man owes Doctor Doom a favor, he owes Loki a favor, and he owes a number of other people, like, favors. And it was clear that he was, like, coalescing to this one big, like, payback story, but he never got a chance to do it after one more day. And then Dan Slott retconned the Loki favor in a very recent story right before
I remember
the
this
book. And it was just like Dan Slott's way of being like, okay, I know continuity, but also none of these continuity buffs who also love Straczynski more than me can use this loophole against me because I just fixed it. Lol.
Yeah.
Anyway, but it's that kind of stuff, and it was kind of like I went, oh, like this is familiar but very different, and that's the kind of stuff that I like in new comics, is like stuff that makes sense, but is also the stuff I've never seen before.
Did Digger ever come back again?
No, Digger exploded, and all of his personalities, I guess, died. I love that line. 'Cause Spider-Man like basically kills him, but he's like, "You're already dead. Like you just don't know it. So I'm not technically breaking my rule." And he has this like mental like monologue where he says something like, "Go back to hell. Go back to 1957." Like just this really great line. I love that scene. But anyway, we did have a sub. It was I think Nimrod Canada who subscribed.
Hey, yes, we did.
30 months in a row.
Oh, hey, Nimrod
Canada. Nimrod Canada. Splooge.
Now, I'm assuming I always wondered this about Nimrod Canada because he's been a fan for a long time. Nimrod, that's a reference to the Sentinel Nimrod, and you're not calling yourself a Nimrod. Obviously,
the ultimate Sentinel.
And by the way, Nimrod is actually a term of endearment. Technically, Nimrod was a genius, and when Bugs Bunny started using it to refer to Elmer Fudd, he was using it ironically, but because most people didn't know their history, they assumed that because Bugs was referring to Elmer as Nimrod, that Nimrod meant moron, and so Bugs Bunny influenced the culture to make Nimrod into synonymous with stupid. But it turns out Nimrod actually refers to a genius, which is why when Nimrod the Sentinel came out, you're like, why would he name himself after a moron? It turns out Nimrod is actually affecting a genius.
Next, you're going to tell me Maroon was a genius, too. What a Maroon.
I assume Maroon is a name.
Right.
Yeah, I have no idea. Did you guys ever read Punisher: The Cell?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yes. That, to me, is like one of the best Punisher stories ever told.
Part of the prequel trilogy that Ennis did. The Tiger, The Cell, and Born.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, gets himself arrested and then, like, kills all the mobsters in prison.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty badass. It was awesome.
Though I gotta say, one of my favorite moments for Punisher during that era was not by Ennis, but was actually a Daredevil story when Punisher does that move to get himself arrested to take care of Matt in prison.
Oh, yeah, the Devil in Cell Block D.
Which I really expected to happen in Season 3, but I was very, like, I'm happy with Season 3, and I don't want to get on a tear about Season 3. I'm just saying, I was like, ooh, he'll, like, clearly Kingpin knows who he is, he'll out him, he'll go to jail, Punisher can show up? Nah.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been kind of cool to see, but, I mean, they kind of played that card, though, with,
fight scene.
Yeah, they kind of played that card with Season 2 when Punisher got himself sent to prison and then met Wilson Fisk.
Oh, so, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's yeah, see, that's interesting to me.
Yeah.
See, I never really, like, I never read Straczynski's run of Spider-Man.
Oh.
Yeah, like I mean, you know, like, I started with Dan Slott with Big Time, and then just went forward from there. But, yeah, like... Yeah, I feel like I need to check that out.
I think you should.
Because I love Straczynski's Thor. Like, I enjoyed his run on Thor.
If you like his Thor, I think you're going to dig his Spider-Man. Because it's very, like, it's similar in terms of, like, maturity and also, like, if you like his tangents, or as we call them at Comic Pop, move the car George moments, then you're going to love Straczynski. Because he's the kind of guy who's like, okay, so yeah, the story's about Thor, but what about that guy? Like, well, who cares about that guy? Well, that guy's funny. And so we're going to keep looking at that guy for a little while. But that guy has nothing to do with the story, Jay. No. But I really, really want to talk about that guy over there. Does he have powers? No. Does he have any influence over the story? No. Just that guy, though, over there. He's funny.
You can tell he came from TV.
Yeah. Like, oh, wouldn't it be fun to have, like, John, you're not stunt casting a friend of yours. Like, this is a comic book. They don't have, like, they're not, you're not giving someone a job. They're just there. But in any case, it's you're gonna dig it, especially if you like don't get Mary Jane or you don't like her. Like, I think you're gonna like. If you do, I'm not saying that Rob you don't, but I'm just saying for those of you out there, because I've seen there's quite a because most people got into reading comics today, probably like 8 years ago. Most people either don't know or don't care about Mary Jane.
They don't get her importance,
and they don't get her importance because no one's used her properly in the last decade or two. Read Straczynski's run because he like fixes her basically, gives her agency.
Heck, I was getting into a conversation with people who were really behind Carly Cooper and were really pushing that relationship super hard.
Carly Cooper, what a mistake. Carly Cooper, you know what Carly Cooper is? Carly Cooper is Natalie Portman in Garden State. Natalie Cooper is, I'm a nerd and I'm imagining my favorite kind of girlfriend. She's quirky and funny and smart, and she has she checks all these boxes of things I want. She's also got sexy glasses, and she does roller derby, and she can help Spider-Man, and she's obsessed with the main character that I'm supposed to identify with. It's just like Carly Cooper was like, meh.
She feels very anime, does she not?
A little bit. I don't know. I don't even want to diminish anime. I think Carly Cooper is like, if you like High School of the Dead and I'm trying to think of like Fruits Basket, then maybe she's anime. But like otherwise, it's like meh. I don't care for her.
She did get to come back in the new Spencer
She's back.
thing. I like.
By the way, like Rob, I don't know if you skipped all this stuff, but like Dan Slott practically like broke his toys and ran away when it came to Carly Cooper, because like he basically had Carly like dump Spider-Man because Spider-Man, of course, under Dan Slott, the latter years turned into like a huge narcissist douchebag, and she basically like turns into a goblin creature and then just bails.
Monster.
And she's like she's like horribly scarred. She has like half a goblin face, and then she just like F's off and she just leaves. And then in the Spencer's run, she just comes back and she's cured and she's fine. And
I got over it.
They're just like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, I'm not giving her that baggage.
Unless it's a crazy red herring and Carly Cooper is going to turn out to be the blue-faced centipede guy.
I don't think so. I think it's Harry or Mephisto or something.
Again, Kingpin gives us a nice piece of information when the blue guy says, "Oh, you recognize my voice, Wilson Fisk," which again could be speaking literally, could be speaking figuratively. But I like when comic books do that. Here's an audio clue you don't get because you're reading it.
Well, that's an old comic book trope, and I know that both of you guys remember this, where like it'll be a last page moment where someone says hi and they turn around and they go you, and it's like you'd know immediately who it was, but because it's a comic and it's text, it could be a man, a woman, a monster, a horse, you don't know. It's great.
A talking
horseman. It was you.
Okay, Sonny, to answer your question, because you've been asking this for a long time, to answer your question,
what's his question?
His question was like, who would win in a fight, the Marquis of Death or Oblivion, and is Oblivion as powerful as one above all? Marquis of Death would win, and Oblivion is not as powerful. Okay, so Oblivion represents the time between the death and rebirth of like the universe, not the multiverse, like the death and rebirth of the universe. So like the inevitable end of all things is what it represents. It's ambiguous as hell. He's just a thing that's there. It's like when Jim Starlin created the Custodian of the Multiverse. It's like, well, what does it do? It sits there and it plays a role in the story, and then that's it.
Yep.
And so no, I mean it's like Oblivion's powerful, but it's not like one above all powerful, not at all. You know. So yeah, that's to answer that question real quick.
Sure.
Yeah, no, it's just that's weird to me. You know, here's the thing. One of the things that I wish Marvel would do is create like a handbook or a guidebook, like a hierarchy.
They used to do that. You remember? Like, they used to do like I think it was called the Marvel Handbook, like 1987, 1995. Like they used to just, oh no, here comes Estelle Thani with more subs.
Jesus.
Thank you, my friend. Holy crap.
Just making it rain today. How generous.
Yeah, Dalthani gifted a ton of subs. Jesus. I mean, we appreciate it, man. We're not going to say no.
No.
Again, everyone owes this man a drink if they ever meet him.
Dude, come to New York.
If I ever meet you, man, I'll buy you a drink.
Right?
Yeah. That's crazy.
He's like, I think you can tell you don't have to.
Aww.
He's like, he'll go to the bar and be like, oh, good, we're here. Everyone has a drink.
He's the hero we need. That's his superpower. I never said thank you, SD, and you'll never have to.
Never have to. But he's thank you, man. How awesome. Rob owes 200 splooges.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
No. I'll just say thank you.
I'm not a machine.
Okay. Yeah. So you get the opportunity to permanently kill one character from the Marvel Universe. Sal's already got its answer ready.
I'm thinking about it.
Oh, okay.
All right. Sal hates redundancy. I bet he's going to kill one of the extra characters.
I mean, like, yeah, I do hate redundancies. I don't like redundant characters that diminish from the main hero. It'd be like if you have, like, a Hawkeye. Nope, there's already that. Everyone has a redundancy. There's 3 Hulks, there's 12 Spider-Mans, there's 2 Captain Americas, there's 8, like, Iron Men. There's nothing you can do. Like, what if I killed one, it wouldn't matter, So what I would do is I'd just return I'd kill Harry Osborn, because they've never did anything with him. Nothing good. Nothing worth it. And Spectacular Spider-Man 200, read it, you'll love it. Have you ever had a friend, you'll cry when you read this book. It's by J.M. DeMatteis, Sal Buscema's art, and it's the story that kills Harry Osborn. And it's just kind of like, even up until like 1994, people were still kind of, even though they were saying like the Clone Saga was 5 years ago, they were still thinking like we're advancing the characters. The characters are growing and changing and getting old. So they were like, yeah, I mean, like, have we told all the Harry Osborn stories we're going to tell? Probably. Just kill them. Kill all the goblins. And they killed Harry Osborn. It's a great, beautiful, powerful story. And they bring him back, and they were like, I'm sore my dad's still a jerk. You know, like, I'm not interesting. You know, like, any scene where Peter Parker talks to Harry and goes like, you're my best friend, Harry, since his resurrection, could have been Flash Thompson, Human Torch, you know, Hobie Brown. It could have been anybody. Robbie Robertson. There could have been any scene where he talks to that character and says the same thing. Just fix that. Like, undo it. Maybe he never was back. Maybe it's a clone. That's one clone I'd be like, yeah, it's fine.
That's true. Unlike all the other clones.
But it's more just, it's not even like a stunt kill. Like, I feel like that's just me as an editor cleaning house, as opposed to being like, no, I'd kill Janet Van Dyne. That's a character that I just remembered also died, so, you know what? Like, whatever. I don't know.
She did die, didn't she?
Yeah, in Secret Invasion, she got really big, and then Kirby crackled.
Yep.
Yeah, she's dating Iron Man.
Yeah, and then...
Hold on, she's dating Iron Man now?
Yes. Oh, yeah, they're a couple now. Yes, in the Dan Slott, Tony Stark Iron Man book. It's actually very cute.
Yeah, I'm like 3 issues behind.
I'm like all the issues behind, because why would I read that book?
Yeah, well, because it comes out monthly, and I forget by the time the like 5th or 6th issue came out.
Here's the thing. If I can sing the praises of this Iron Man book for a second, it does a couple things I'm really liking. One, the first 5 issues are all done in ones, which you never get anymore. I think that's a dying art form, being able to tell a comic with a beginning.
Hold on, they're one-shots?
For the first little bit. For the first 5 issues, they're all these kind of one-and-dones. They're building up to this... Yeah. They're building up to this story about the controller who might have a mole inside Tony's new company. Tony's also afraid that he's already dying because he basically easy-baked ovened himself a brand new body.
Yes.
That he's like, oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't have played God like this. So he's trying to build basically the thing from Ready Player One, a virtual world he can live in, but also something he can sell. And he's dating Janet, and they fully admit, it's like, hey, didn't we date once, like, way, way back when, and we never talked about it? Yeah, that did happen. For like a minute. And Joe Costa has a really hard-working B-plot in it, because she's trying to be more human.
They're really pushing the Joe
Holy
Costa
shit, they
thing,
brought
which,
Joe Costa back?
Fine?
Yes.
Wow.
Joe Costa works for Stark Enterprises now as, what was her job title? Head of Robo-Ethics, because there's so many new AIs running around. It's her job to be like, hey, are you feeling overworked as an AI? Hey, are you feeling represented and respected? Oh, and she's dating Machine Man Aaron Stack, and he's being a possessive D-bag.
Yes.
Wow.
I don't remember, because I read up until the first story with the Ready Player One Sword Art Online universe.
Yes.
Are they giving Machine Man the next wave curses?
That's a good question.
The chat will have to let me know, because there's moments where in Next Wave, when everybody cursed, they were just like skull and crossbones.
Yeah.
Oh, then yes, I think so.
But they only used them in Next Wave, and then they only used them later on for like Elsa Bloodstone and Machine Man. Everyone who was in Next Wave got those specific sensor bars.
I think they are, actually.
That's great.
Yeah, they're making the controller a scary villain again, which I never thought possible.
No, he's a big joke.
Yeah, they're actually trying to do something with him in this that I actually kind of respect.
That works for me.
And Arno Stark is back, and they're implying that he might be the next big Marvel Universe threat, because we have a whole story where he, like, fake does nice things with science, only for in the final issue to be like, ooh, I'm actually more like scientific Satan, that I gave you these great gifts only so I could take them away and watch you hang yourself with them. I hate what Tony is doing, just giving away scientific advancement for free and willy-nilly. He causes more problems than he should. No, like, ooh, that's a good place for a villain.
Dude, I believe it, man, because during the, who was it that wrote it? Kieran Gillen run.
Yeah.
Like, him and Tony Stark created, like, that utopian city in the future.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
On, like, Mandarin Island. Yeah, like, dude, okay, I'm glad somebody's finally doing something with Arno. Because I loved Arno's character. And I know Bendis said, like, hey, there's things coming down the pipe with Arno. And he's like, never mind, I'm off to DC. Bye. And then, like, he left.
Yep.
Read issue 5, because issue 5 is just an Arno one-shot, and you'll probably enjoy it.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
He also has a brand new Iron Man suit that looks like Doomsday. It looks like a monster, and it's great.
Yeah. That's one thing I'm really sad about too. Is they didn't really do anything with Superior Iron Man, or I'm sorry, Infamous Iron Man. Then they turn him back into a villain again.
That sucks.
I love Infamous Iron Man.
They turn him into a villain in a backup story.
Sure did.
Yeah. It's like they did. It's the same thing with Lex Luthor. Like, let's do it. Let's address it, but like really, really quietly. Like,
and totally that was because of movies. That wasn't because that story had reached its end or they had an organic reason to change it back. It's like, not movies.
Also, Bendis left, so screw all of his books.
Yeah, and every retcon he ever made.
So I gotta say, I read Ironheart #1, and it was way better than
I'm sure it would be.
Anything Bendis had written with that character ever.
Yeah, I mean, I totally believe it because he didn't have time to concentrate on launching a new character. He was doing 5 other things.
That's what happens when you create characters just so you can get residuals for those characters. Like, I really do believe that Bendis was just excited to make characters, like, when he first started. Like, when he was like, ooh, here's, like, what's her name? Quake.
Jessica Jones.
Or Maria Hill. Or Jessica Jones. Or, you know what I mean? Like, I thought he was just excited to make things. But you could tell, like, with Man of Steel and with, like, the latter years of his Marvel career, he's like, I'm just making characters that I hope they put in the cartoon so I can get a check.
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean,
I guess. I don't know.
He's a very wealthy man, so I guess it worked.
Yeah.
He's wealthier than most comic writers. Like,
yeah.
There is a big difference between, like, Bendis when he wrote New Avengers and Bendis when he wrote, like, Iron Man.
Yeah.
Like Invincible Iron Man.
Big time.
I mean, there is a difference there. Well, I don't know if it was all just like chasing a paycheck.
No, I mean, like, I'm not saying that he only did it for a paycheck, but I am saying that, like, well, Civil War II was absolutely not. It wasn't even a paycheck. It was like a favor. Like, that was, they asked him to write it because they knew he's a quick writer and they needed a Civil War book out in time for a Civil War movie. He wrote the best he could with what he had, and it sucks. But, like, that being said, I don't think he's a writer, but he also writes for a company. So, like, in essence, he is writing for money, but he's also trying to be an artist. But I do believe that, like, if you look at, like, how hard he's pushing these rando characters in the Superman title,
boy, is he.
And in such an inauthentic and uncomfortable way.
You mean you don't love Robinson Good and Rogel Zar and whatever the gossip columnist name is? I've already forgotten.
And the gossip columnist whose name I can't remember? Yeah. Like,
and the lady firefighter, too.
Right. That annoyed Rob so much he left the show.
Oh, and let's not even forget his new Young Justice team. All right, you get Bart, you get the Superboy you've been talking about, you get a Robin, and a bunch of new characters I'm inventing.
Yeah. And I'm literally selling it like it's one of those Marvel Rising cartoon shows. So if you want to do that, I'll even be an executive producer on those shows. Because that's a big thing, by the way. If you ever want to know, like, what the hell happened to Bendis? Why did he leave? Well, here's a little, like, inside baseball. It's not even inside baseball. It's just, if you know these things, you just pay attention to them. Like, when Bendis left, when Bendis was working for Marvel, when Marvel was under Perlmutter, Marvel Studios, and Marvel was internal, when Marvel was like a studio by itself. Bendis was an architect for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and in fact, he wrote the scene where Nick Fury shows up at the end of Iron Man. He ghost wrote a bunch of lines. He was like what Joss Whedon became later when they would like need a line or need a punch up. They'd go to Whedon later on after Avengers, but before that, it was Bendis. Bendis was one of their main guys, and he like had a foot in the door in Hollywood, which everyone who writes comics is trying to get. And Bendis like basically was like, I can leverage my comic book career into a movie career. And when Feige went over Perlmutter's head and went to, who was it, Iger?
The Disney.
Yeah.
And got the direct connection and cut out Marvel Studios from Marvel Studios, Bendis lost a big fat check.
Ooh.
And they dissolved the Marvel board, this group of writers and artists who like helped the movies stay comic book oriented. Those people were all out. All the comic book stuff was gone, and so as a result, like Bendis lost out on a bunch of fucking money. And so as a result, like, what's he gonna do? So he has to create new characters to get more money, and DC probably offered him a nice, sweet check, and also
why wouldn't they?
An opportunity to be involved in the movie, TV,
their stuff,
ARM stuff. Because the fact is, like, that's where the real money is. Like,
And
if you're
Lord
a comic
knows they
book writer,
need it.
like, look, if you ever go to a comic book convention, look at the writers' tables. First of all, there aren't any. Secondly, if you do find one, it's an empty table. Because if they can go to your show, they can barely afford to go to it. They don't make a lot of money. And so, you have to write either a billion books like Bendis does, or you have to, like, create a bunch of new characters that will be leveraged into movies and shows. And that's only later, or that's only now. Like 20, 30, 60 years ago, like Bill Finger, Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko, like people got screwed big time.
And still do.
Oh, the Siegels and Schusters, like these people got like screwed out of their residuals.
Even people who are still alive, like Jerry Conway and stuff, he doesn't get thanked on the CW shows for creating Firestorm or anything like that.
No, Jerry Conway. I was thinking of
the Ghost Rider guy,
quite
guy. Famous.
Yeah, but
he didn't get shit.
But that's why they make new characters.
Wolfman and Perez, they got their names off the Titans app show that just came out.
Yeah. So anyway, but it's just talking about like Bendis then versus Bendis now. Bendis had an upward trajectory in 2001, and in 2018 he's like, I got to look laterally, or because he can't just like kick in the door at any studio in Hollywood and say, I created Jessica Jones. Like, they don't care. Like,
and also too, back then, he was a younger man, I'm sure, with less responsibilities. Now he has a family and a couple kids and everything.
Yeah, I mean, he had a wife and a kid, I think, back when Jessica Jones was a thing, but he was definitely younger. And of course, after the health scare, he probably is very focused on like keeping health insurance, making the nest egg bigger, providing for his family, and also making sure that like there's something there for when he's gone. Anyway, that's a darker thing. Hey, Batman punched Jim Gordon. That kind of sucks. What do you guys think?
Fuck all of that. Oh my god,
no, I don't know.
I hate that, and I hate people's defensive being like, you don't understand, Joel. Batman's going through a hard time. Nightwing got shot and his marriage fell apart, to which I grabbed them by the digital friggin' scruff, and I'm like, bad stuff always happens to Batman. His sidekicks are always dead. His life is always in shambles. It doesn't give him a right to be a jerk, especially not as big a jerk as he's being right now, to the point where he's the least likable character in his own book.
Yeah,
he really is. But it's cool, though. Like, okay, so I read Beasts of Burden, right? And like I read Cold Days. I'm just like, geez, like I tweeted to Tom King. I was like, hey man, I've been reading Batman for like a while. Like I've been reading him for like 5 years, really since New 52 started. But I've been studying his character for even longer. And like this is some of the best Batman writing like that there's ever been. And when I was when I was reading Cold Days.
Are we talking about the trial? Is that what that was?
Yeah, the trial one. Yeah. Like, okay. It's just huge introspective look at like Batman. It's one of the coolest things. No, dude, it's one of the coolest things, because Bruce Wayne's like, you guys believe Batman's God because Batman's the closest you've ever gotten to God saving you. Mm-hmm. Like God didn't save you, Batman did. And like it's stuff like that. But
yeah, but the whole point of that story is Batman's like, oh, these people, they won't even believe the truth when it's right in front of them because they think Batman is God. Oh, I've interfered too much. I need to interfere even further by spending my money to get onto this friggin' jury so I can manipulate it from behind the scenes. And also, I got too emotional when I beat up Mr. Freeze. I should never beat up my foes too badly. Damn you, Bane, for the thing I've learned nothing. I am a man-child.
Okay, no, that was a cool thing though, because I mean, I liked that, like that character development, because it's like Batman's in a really shitty place. No, dude, it's cool because then you have Bruce Wayne, like literally his whole world falls apart, and then Nightwing gets shot. Right. Like, so what does he do? He literally goes and fights KGB, and then breaks his neck and leaves him to die in like the Arctic wilderness.
Right.
Or like the Russian, like the Siberian wilderness, and it's just like, damn. And it's I mean, he'll come back. Like KGB will live. The guy's like Nuke. He's half cyborg, so like he'll be back. But still, like, it's just brutal.
It was Cold Days was actually I really did enjoy reading Cold Days.
It started very strong.
It did. I'm not of the opinion that Batman is as out of control because of like loss as other writers are. The fact is, like, you have to look at it from a number of perspectives. For one thing, this is still New 52 Batman, regardless of what everybody wants to say. They still haven't done a universal change, which means there's still New 52 Batman. But the fact is, like, nobody cares, nobody's paying attention. So, like, you could argue it in a number of ways. You could say, one, it's not even really Batman. Two, Maybe they don't care, but like the next writer gets to do whatever they want anyway. The fact is, this Batman is very different from Snyder's Batman. Is very different from Morrison's Batman. Is very different from from Jim Aparo or from Jim Starlin's Batman. It's all very different. Tony Daniel, James Tynion, they're all different Batmans. They're supposed to be in linear order, but the reality is DC hasn't been going in linear order for like 13 years or more. So,
well, you know who he reminds me of?
Who?
He reminds me of Marv Wolfman's Batman. Yeah, when Jason Todd dies, and like Marv Wolfman takes over and introduces Tim Drake.
Yes.
And Batman's like exceedingly violent to the point where like it looks like he's going to kill a person.
Yeah,
and Tim Drake goes to Dick Grayson and he's like, "You have to go reel Batman back in. You have to go back to being Robin." And Dick Grayson's like, "No, I'm not going to."
Yeah, well, I love that.
Like Batman has to have
by the way, that's some great stuff. Like Wolfman's Batman is really cool, and I'm glad you brought that up. Besides the fact that BB Wolf Jr. subscribed for one sub.
What are the odds?
But Jim Starlin's Batman is the one who killed Jason Todd, right? Jason Todd dies in the desert after being beaten to death and then blown up next to his mother. Batman should be pretty upset, to putting it mildly. And he clearly is going to go kill the Joker in that story. He's so upset, and it's very parallel-y because, like, okay, so, like, Batman's surrogate son is almost killed in the most recent story, but he's not dead. He is, for all intents and purposes, dead because he's a different person now, but whatever.
That's character assassination, not real assassination.
Right. We all know he's going to be back. But, like, in the Starlin story, Batman loses Todd. He dies. He goes to wherever the hell he goes to, DC, I think, and Superman shows up. And Superman's like, I'm going to stop you from killing the Joker because the State Department's forced me to do it. And Batman flies off the handle and punches Superman in the face. It's very similar to, like, Batman flying off the handle and punching Gordon in the face. Two differences. One, Superman can take it, and Batman knows that. Two, immediately following that happening, Superman, like, browbeats him. It's amazing. Superman says, like, you know, do you feel better now? And Batman's like, I think I broke my hand. And he looks at it. He's like, no, but you have like really severely bruised your hand. You're lucky to have not broken your hand. What's wrong with you? And Batman's like, ugh. And then he has this moment where he's talking to his buddy, and he's like, Jason died, like, and Joker killed him. And Superman's like, well, you can't prove it. There's nothing you can do about it. And Batman's like, fair enough. I'll go figure it out. That's Batman, a guy who's like, listen. I'm clearly not well balanced. I dress like a bat because my mommy and daddy were killed 25 years ago. But I am measured and coordinated and put together enough to be able to, like, hone my body and mind to that of the perfect stature of every martial arts known to man, and to steady my mind enough to become the world's greatest detective. I should be able to not punch my friend in the face, especially because he's 20 years my senior. But, like, he punches Superman and then immediately basically apologizes and goes like, you know what, I'm a spaz. He punches Gordon and he's like, eat it, and then just F's off. Like, that's not Batman. Like, oh no, your girlfriend dumped you and your son almost died. Like, you were in a story where your son did die. It's your fault, and you didn't even go that far.
Yep.
Yeah. But I mean, I like it though, because it's a tragic thing. Like, it's
it's sad.
The closest thing because here's the other thing you got to keep in mind too is, like, as far as Batman is concerned, Nightwing was dead.
Right. Well, because he's a different person.
And then, do what?
You mean because he's a different person?
And Batman's doing nothing to help or watch over him right now. He's letting him run around with guns and shit.
He told him, I don't want to hang out with you. My name's Rick now. Bye.
Oh, I thought you, like, left because, like, your video went away for a second.
Oh yeah, no, I saw that. I don't know what the problem is.
You said bye, so it was like bye.
Bye.
Like,
boom. Like, show's over.
Show's done, guys. Peace.
Yeah.
But see, to me, it's a tragic thing because here's the difference between Jim Starlin's situation and Batman's situation right now. Because Batman just lost Jason Todd. And death in the family. Yeah. And like it was a pretty big thing. But like at the end of the day, Jason Todd was kind of a dick too. And by the time that story came to an end, Batman's just like, fuck it. So
yeah, but it does inform him. It does inform him to become the Batman that you said was cool in the Marv Wolfman story, where he's like unhinged and he's losing it.
It does lead him to that point. But what I'm saying is, like, in the Tom King
run,
Tom King run right now, I keep thinking of Tim Kring from Heroes, who totally botched the show.
Yeah.
In the Tom King run right now, like you've got a Batman who lost Tim Drake, and then he came back.
Right.
All right. Then you got a Batman who lost Selena Kyle. Like she literally just like left him at the altar and is just like peaced out. You're talking about a Batman who almost lost Gotham Girl, who lost Gotham Man.
Right.
Like you're talking about a Batman who seemingly lost Jason Todd. Like you're talking about like a Batman like that has been constantly losing things.
Mm-hmm.
Like a Batman that almost ended the multiverse. A Batman who like by screwing around in time instead of just kind of and bouncing around and so on, like led to like Barbados and all that kind of stuff. Like a Batman where like everything that can go wrong basically has gone wrong.
Right.
So and I think it makes sense. Like I think it builds up. Like if this was like a one, right? If like
to take any responsibility for any of the part he's played in any of this.
Yeah. Like if all the things that had gone on with like if this was like a one-off, right? If this is like Tom King writes Batman and it's like the first arc is Dick Grayson getting shot in the head by KG Beast, then I would be like, okay, that's kind of weird. Him just flying off the handle, like tracking him down to the middle of nowhere and then like beating him near to death and then leaving him there. But no, I mean it's kind of cool. Like I like the direction. I like the way it works so far.
Right. To each their own in that regard, because it's like the fact is like it is resonating with a lot of people and they're really enjoying the story. And the fact is like you wouldn't do a full page splash of Batman punching Gordon without it having some kind of emotional resonance, and people really are responding to it.
You'd hope.
So I do recognize that aspect of it. It's more just like for me there are some lines that don't. Like like there's some ways the Batman like doesn't cross. Like we all have bad days, we all have bad times. We're all like, I mean, you're talking about a character whose antagonist, whose central antagonist is his whole mantra is like one bad day can make you lose your mind and become a serial killer, and Batman's had like 25 bad days in a row. So in that regard, like I guess we should like give him a medal because all he did was punch his geriatric best friend in the face. I'm surprised he hasn't kicked Alfred in the nuts yet, but like,
oh, it's coming,
right? Like it is. But
oh no, he actually did want to punch Alfred during the Poison Ivy storyline when he was infected. He was like, "Oh, help you, old chum! I'll punch you, old father figure."
At the very least, if you could say like he was under mind control or whatever, but like, yeah, it ain't for me. And the fact is, whoever takes over after Tom King is going to do something else, and they're going to be okay, well that was a weird time, but we're not going to reference that anymore because DC doesn't like care about continuity. So
we're going back to Silver Age Batman. He's going to have some adventures in space with aliens now.
I would not be surprised in the least if that.
Man, that brings me to Grant Morrison, man. Like Green Lantern #1.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God.
So I sit down and read Green Lantern #1.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of disappointed. I mean, I'm interested because it's Grant Morrison, and he's just he'll write something kind of wonky, and I'm kind of curious where it goes. The art doesn't really do anything for me, but I'm kind of disappointed because like Robert Venditti's run ends with him like reconciling with Carol Ferris.
Right.
And I wanted to see where that went. Like if she would go back to being Star Sapphire or something like that. But then like Hal Jordan wakes up in the middle, like he's in the middle of like apparently he's like banging some chick in the desert.
Yeah,
from back in the day.
He doesn't have his ring, and it's like okay, so what happened between like the end of that run and the beginning of this one? And Grant Morrison may or may not explain it.
I feel like he won't.
Yeah.
I feel like that was made for people like me. It was like, hey, have you like skipped out on the last like 5 years of Green Lantern lore? Do you not know anything and want something easy to ease you in? Well, here you go.
Yeah.
Which here's the thing. It was to ease me in, and I was still confused by a lot of things that were going on.
And that might be the reason why they brought in Grant Morrison, because Venditti's run just continues Jeff Johns' run. Right. Is all that does. So, I mean, but that was the point of Green Lanterns. Was to give you an ease into the Green Lantern mythos.
I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it, dude. I love Sam Humphrey's Green Lanterns. That was amazing. Yeah. It was incredible storytelling.
See, for me, Green Lantern is tough. Like, I like street level characters, so like I'm never gonna be the hugest Green Lantern fan. So I was actually kind of excited for this because I'm like, ooh, like I know Grant Morrison's going to throw everything that everyone's reading out the window, and we can start from scratch. And I don't know why I always fall for this, because I did the same thing with Action Comics #1 with Grant Morrison when the New 52 launched. I did the same thing with Batman with the bus full of nuns during Batman, and when they introduced Damian. And I always fall for it. I'm like, ooh, a great ground floor level with Grant Morrison. And then I'm like, damn it, he took everything that I like and he threw it away, or he did something weird with it. And like,
I tricked you again, Sal. I did it.
I did it again. No. So it was not for me.
It's the rune magic. He keeps putting spells on us with rune magic.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, Comics of the New 52 was good in the beginning.
Right.
When it was
the first 4 issues are really cool.
Yeah, like when it goes into like. Well, even then, like the first 2 or 3 arcs, I thought were pretty good. When it was like how does Superman become Superman?
Right.
Like that was a cool thing about Action, and then it got strange.
Yeah, but it had to, because it was Grant Morrison. It wasn't gonna like be totally cool and normal.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. Like Grant Morrison can write cool. Like he wrote like JLA. Is like a series of cool and normal stories.
You're right, and he also wrote Wonder Woman Earth 1, which is totally normal and easy to get into.
Yeah, so he writes cool and normal stories. He's just not doing it with this.
Well,
which is kind of
he just doesn't wanna.
Yeah,
they gave him the keys to space.
Yeah, like I feel like it's going to be a giant Green Lantern version of Final Crisis. You know what's weird to me about DC? DC's universe outside of Earth feels like everything in Marvel Comics before 2006.
Like impenetrable and bloated.
Yeah, well, that and like here's characters who are in space and they might meet like once.
Right.
You know, like Marvel had like Quasar over here and like Silver Surfer over there and like Captain Marvel up until 1984 over there.
Yeah.
And so on. And then like Gina Spell goes crazy, creates a new universe, and then they give us Phyla-Vell, and then she comes into the main Marvel universe. It's weird. And just stuff like that. Like I feel like that I've always kind of been waiting for that from DC, where they have like this huge like spacefaring escapade where they like consolidate it all, and it's just like, and then it goes forward as like a cohesive system.
Well, I mean, isn't that
right
basically,
now it's just like
isn't that basically Dark Knight's Metal?
Mm-hmm. It is, and it's kind of like, and it is kind of getting that way with like Drowned Earth. Well, it was that way with Drowned Earth.
Yeah.
You know, you get like the other planetary, ocean gods and shit.
Right.
But
the triumvirate.
The triumvirate, yeah. But what came out of Dark Knight's Metal though, didn't have anything to do with spacefaring escapades.
No.
Like it was just evil Batman. Like it was just this thing that was built, and then it came back. Like you had
multiple evil Batman,
and you had the Green Lanterns, and like that's it.
Yeah, that's true. It could have been what you were describing, but it wound up being something else.
Yeah, it wound up being something else, and that's why I say like post-Crisis wasn't bad, because like there was no multiverse, so the new gods were just like out in the universe somewhere, and there was a giant wall around them.
Yeah.
And like that around like Apocalypse and shit. What was that place called?
New Genesis.
New Genesis. Yeah. Like to me that was kind of a cool thing. But I don't know. Maybe they'll never go for that. But I'm a big fan of cosmic stories. I like spacefaring stories. That's why I love Annihilation and Annihilation Conquest and like War of Kings and Realm of Kings, and, like Thanos Imperative, and like, well, all this stuff's going on Earth, like it pales in comparison to like everything going on in space. Right. Like I dug that stuff. Like Rise and Fall of the Shi'ar Empire and things like that. That was cool to me.
I pick and choose those. For me, it's like it's like sometimes they're all like Annihilation. I'm like, I'm not gonna like Annihilation. Then I read it, I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. It's like all hope is lost, and we're literally like worlds are like world after world after world is falling. I want to see that story in the MCU.
Yeah.
Annihilation, that would be pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, I've always wanted that from DC, like a more cohesive spacefaring series of stories.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I mean, like, maybe that's Odyssey. Maybe what you're looking for is Justice League Odyssey.
Yeah, I never read that.
It's a new story. It's a new book.
Hey, do you like Trek? Do you like the Justice League? What if we set up a bunch of Justice Leaguers with their own ship and they could travel around like it was Trek and get into adventures?
See, I don't know why they never did anything with the Multiversity Justice League team. Like the Multiversal Justice League.
Oh, they were fun. I liked them.
Oh, the Multiversity guys?
Yeah, man, and like we Grant Morrison wrote Multiversity, which is kind of cool, and then like you don't really see anything from them until you get into like, well, at least the New 52 is concerned, until you get into Rebirth with, was it Superman Reborn? Or no, not Superman Reborn. What's the one where he He fights with them.
Oh, against all the other Supermen, because an evil alien is kidnapping Supermen from all over the multiverse.
Yeah.
That wasn't multiversity. That was I think a Superman arc.
It was.
Yeah, it was the Superman story arc.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you get it. You go into that whole thing, and like they return, and then they're gone again, and it's like I want to read stories about them, like where they travel around and stuff like that. Grant Morrison was doing Multiplicity. That's what it was. Thank you, Tevye. Multiplicity, like stuff like that was cool to me. Like I would like to see more of that kind of thing, like where you explore the multiverse through. Because right now Flash is kind of doing it with his Force Quest, but like you explore the multiverse like with the Multiversity guys. You know, like that would be cool. Yeah, Tomasi.
And the Flash thing is also kind of complicated, given the whole like.
No, guys. Grant Morrison wrote Multiversity.
Yes.
Peter J. Tomasi wrote Multiplicity.
Yeah.
So,
but it's like it's a spiritual sequel to Multiversity.
It is, and it's good. You know, it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
But,
I liked it.
Yeah,
I was not a huge
love to see
Multiversity
that.
fan.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, you know, I don't know. I mean, I feel like Bendis would do something with it and screw it up.
No doubt. He can't do cosmic stories. We all know that. Like
that's the thing, man. Like I love Bendis to death, man. Like I love his New Avengers run. I love what he did with Iron Man.
Yeah.
I love a lot of Bendis stuff. Like I'm one of the few people who actually enjoyed the time displaced X-Men. Like I like
it was good when it started. The first 2 volumes are pretty fun. Then he runs out of ideas.
Then he runs out of ideas. Yeah. I mean, I liked a lot of what he did, but I don't dig his Superman. I don't think Bendis is a Superman writer. I think Bendis is like a Shazam writer, or like Dial H for Hero writer, which he's doing.
Or Batman even. Let him go back to the street level, for Christ's sake.
I would not want Bendis on Batman.
Wouldn't you?
See, I did, because like he actually gets street level characters. The funny thing is, I don't know if it would be any good.
Yeah.
But maybe it's because Bendis doesn't get the DC universe. I don't know.
Yeah, he made Jonathan Kent. Yeah, he made Jonathan. Like, he comes back in issue 7, and they made him to like this crazy. Like he's gonna make him a crazy villain. And it's the most nuts thing, because Benny and I were talking about that. I think it was Benny, or maybe it was one of us. We were talking about that, and it was like the one thing Bendis said he wouldn't do is the one thing he turned around and did.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. Put Bendis on Nightwing. There you go.
Yeah.
You know, or give him like a Damian Wayne book.
Right.
Like that would be cool. Like
I would do something
read
with
that.
Damian. I could see
or
him
like
doing
Super
that.
Sons. Yeah, like a Super Sons book would be cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like Bendis he's so good at writing young people. You know, he wrote Daredevil, didn't he?
Yeah,
yes.
he did.
It's one of the best, most celebrated runs.
I haven't read it. So
it's excellent. You'd love it.
Okay, I'll have to go check it out then.
It reads like a really good Netflix series where every issue is an episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's check it out then. But yeah, I don't know. But anyway, guys. All right, so we're at our time limit, 4:30.
This is true.
What time did we start?
Not long ago.
Okay.
Little after 5:30.
Yeah. So about an hour. We're good.
Okay, guys. We're gonna bounce off here. 2 weeks. We will be back. We will talk about Aquaman, and then after that, we're gonna take a break until probably January. So we'll be gone for about a month.
Break. I think it's like 2 weeks.
Doesn't Into the Spider-Verse come out first?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll talk about Into the Spider-Verse and then Aquaman.
Well, we're going to talk about both of them probably.
Yeah. We'll go ahead and get that going. But anyway, okay, so we're going to bounce off here, guys. Thanks for coming out, people.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
And thank you especially to our subs and to Estel Thani for gifting so many subs. It's incredible. We do appreciate it. Thank you guys so much.
Most
definitely.
So what was it, 2 weeks?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
So stay tuned. And tell your friends. Awesome. Don't forget. Otherwise, you'll miss out on like crazy new stuff and our opinions on them. But thanks a lot for putting up with our fun, off-the-cuff kind of like Q&A discussion. We didn't even take any questions in the audience. It was more like we asked each other a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
All right, we're going to bounce off here, guys, and we will catch you all later. Peace.